Whaling of gray whales and other whale species has taken place on the West Coast since time immemorial. Now, not all native communities engage in the same practices related to whale hunting. There are differences between different tribes, different cultures, but one thing that's sort of in common with gray whales up and down the coast is that because they're a nearshore species, people regularly had encounters with them, either out on the water or as beached whales on the shore. For many communities up and down the West Coast, a beached whale has long been seen as kind of a gift from the ocean. So many communities would harvest a beached whale even if they weren't necessarily regularly engaging in ocean-based whaling. Some tribal communities did engage in ocean-based whaling, and those practices differed between different communities. One of the best known is the Makah tribal nation in what is currently Washington state, right up at the tip of the Olympic Peninsula. The Makah have the only explicitly guaranteed treaty rights in the contiguous United States to specifically whale hunting. So in the 1855 Treaty of Neah Bay, that was one of the most important conditions for negotiating that treaty. Even under extremely difficult circumstances, the importance of what one scholar has called maritime tenure in relation to the Makah was really sort of central to maintaining Makah identity and culture. The Makah tribe actually decided to stop whaling in the 1920s out of conservation concerns because of the depletion of the population that had been wrought by Yankee whaling. They engaged in one last ceremonial whaling hunt in order to train the younger generation who hadn't had as much exposure due to these declining catches that came about from the reduction of the population. And that was important to be able to pass on knowledge for future generations to return to hunting the gray whale. 70 years later, the gray whale had recovered due to conservation efforts in the mid-20th century. In fact, by the time that the International Whaling Commission issued an international moratorium on commercial whaling of all whale species, the gray whale had actually already begun its recovery because it had been protected since about the late 1940s. It was delisted from the United States Endangered Species List in 1994. And the following year, the Makah tribe issued their intention to resume hunting the gray whale. They had their first hunt in over 70 years in 1999. That's been embroiled in an extensive legal and regulatory battle for many decades now. And last year, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, officially approved of the Marine Mammal Protection Act waiver that will allow the Makah to resume their treaty rights to whale hunting.